I think that any of us would have done that, especially seeing Ryan behave and be who he was. We all would have thought, I did it when we were amateurs. I'm definitely going to do it. I'm a man now, and he hasn't gotten any better.
Welcome in to Boxing Scene's top stories here on ProBox TV. Well, it's been 5 months since we have seen Devin Haney in the ring, of course, losing to Ryan Garcia, that being overturned after Ryan Garcia's dirty test. A big question in the boxing world. What is the future of this young man, only 25 years old? Well, he sat down with Andre Ward on his Art of Ward podcast for an interview. This is what Devin Haney himself had to say.
If I'm not mistaken, I heard Pop say on It Is What It Is with Mason Cameron that if he could do it all over again, he wouldn't have took the fight if he wouldn't have made the weight.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? You would have just said, fight off. Either make the weight or we not fight.
Yeah.
You would have did that for sure.
Yeah.
100%. Did you ever think about stopping in the middle of that fight at any point in time?
No, I never felt like stopping. Like, it never, even hit my mental one time to stop.
Bro, you a dog.
Like, never even, was like, damn, I'm fucking around. Like,
your jaw was swollen.
I never even thought of it.
You getting up multiple times, but I never seen you turn. I never seen you,
Yeah.
You look at Pops, give him that look, very easy.
I was always trying to get back in the fight. I never thought, I'm overmatched or nothing like that. I'm like,
you never felt,
I want to get it back. I want to get it back.
To the final bell?
I got to get that back. Yeah, I got to get that back. Maybe that was what, could have been one of the things that I could have, was like, all right, well, maybe I could get it back eventually, build it. But when you in that moment, you're a dog, you want to get it back.
Yeah, I seen that in you, bro, and I respect that.
People can say, oh, he don't have a chin. No, when you get hit and you get up, that's what's showing you have a chin. Being able to get hit and get right back to it.
Did you ever recover from that getting hurt the first time? In the very first round?
I feel like I recovered. Because I wasn't that hurt. It was more like a surprise.
Like shock you.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I recovered.
What is Bill telling you throughout the course of the fight? What did he have? What type of urgency did he have? What was he saying?
Like I said, I don't want to speak on that too much for various reasons, but yeah.
Are y'all still taking legal action over what he did? Or y'all still thinking about it?
We'll see.
Welcome back in studio, Jimmy Smith, to help me break down the comments of Devin Haney. Joining me via Zoom, it is Chris Algieri and Showtime, Sean Porter. Chris, let me start with you. I mean, what do you think of the comments? One of the things about did you ever want to quit? I think people forget that it was a very close fight. He won a lot of rounds in between the power punches of Ryan Garcia. What do you think about the questions and the answers?
Yeah, there's no question Devin Haney showed that he's got heart. He went down, he got up. It's cool to hear him say that he never thought about quitting the fight, never thought about trying to get out of the fight, and I think that showed. I mean, I was really impressed with his ability to get himself up off the canvas, to scratch back and get rounds, and it was a very close fight. He had a bunch of moments in that fight too. It's just they get overshadowed because of the big knockdowns by Ryan. And then all the aftermath. But if you really watch that fight, it's a very, very close fight. Devin did a lot of good things in there, made a number of mistakes, absolutely, but also did a lot of good stuff in there as well. And it was a very entertaining fight. I was in the room that night. I mean, it was electric in there. And, it was I thought Devin, showed a lot of mettle, man. He showed what he's really made of. He showed he's a real fighter. And in terms of what Dre said about asking if they should have taken the fight, I actually said that from the beginning. I'm like, yeah, you don't make weight, you don't fight. This is a high level situation. They had Barboza ready. He was ready to step right in, and he did not look good that night. So Devin Haney could have went out there. He made the weight. He could have defended his title against Barboza. He could have had an easier night. He's still going to get paid, and that Ryan fight could have been made later when he can make weight. But it is what it is. You can't be a revisionist historian at this point. What happened. But I think that was an interesting interview to get Devin's take. Even though it's been 5 months, I think there's still a lot of interest in hearing, what went down that night.
The idea that he has a lot to learn, Showtime, if you could speak on that when it comes to when Underwood asks him about, one of the mistakes he acknowledges is, I wanted get back immediately. I should have outboxed him. I should have calmed down a little bit. I got a little too emotional. Do you think he comes out tactically better, that he acknowledges that he maybe made some mistakes tactically in the fight?
Yeah, you know what? I like to look at Chris Algieri as the scientist on the show. Look at myself as the psychologist on the show. I like to take you into the mind of the fight. I think Paulie is just a loudmouth, intelligent guy on the show. He just talks very loud and everything sounds
He's the
legit,
bullhorn of
so
the
let's
show.
just take it for what it is. Yeah, I think he's probably the best on the show, though. But anyway, I want to take you into the mind of a Devin Haney and Bill Haney taking this fight, knowing that he was overweight, seeing all of the antics outside of the ring, the so on and so forth. They leaned on their experiences as amateurs and looked at it and they said, this kid ain't got no better since we fought him when we were 13, 14, 15 years old. We're bigger now. We're stronger now. We're punching harder at 140. We're going to get him. They didn't realize that it only takes one punch. And to the point of what Devin said, after that one punch going down, first time being there, pro amateur doesn't even matter. It's my first time feeling this kind of energy. The thing that clicks into in our mentalities, again, being crazy, being fighters, being dogs, I got to go get it right back. I don't think he went right back into the fire, but he did what he needed to do. He tried to box and things of that nature. But here's the thing, coming into the ring, they were not turned on. They were turned off because there were so many things playing into, oh, well, this is going to be an easy, quick night for us. The experience from the past and all those sorts of things. Mentally, they were not locked and loaded, ready to go. And after that first punch, they were never able to turn on. And, he had his moments in the ring. And you're right. Yeah, he did. But that was just nature. That was just natural. He's a natural, fast, good boxer. That's natural. But at the highest level, it takes us being a little unnatural, being able to think under the pressure, being able to think under the heat and all those kinds of things. That never turned on, which is why the fight ultimately played out the way that it played out. Them thinking that they were, even though he didn't make weight, we're going to still take the fight. I think that any of us would have done that, especially seeing Ryan behave and be who he was. We all would have thought, I did it when we were amateurs. I'm definitely going to do it. I'm a man now. And he hasn't gotten any better. They knew that they were going to do it psychologically. They were turned on to the wrong things, and it didn't work out for him on fight night. But I think he saw some of the adjustments that he should have made, some of the mistakes that he made, even in the losing effort. And that was my concern. My concern was that the fight would get overturned, and it would be the smoke and mirrors game for them and make them feel like, well, we didn't really lose. Well, when you lose, usually we know we got something to learn. When you win, sometimes you may overlook some of the things that you could learn. The changing of the decision didn't change them understanding that there were things that they needed to learn from. I think they'll be all right moving forward.
Chris, what's your thought on Haney moving forward? We heard mature answers to the questions, right? He isn't in his own delusions about what happened. We heard mature answers to the questions. Does it give you more faith that he can bounce back? And once again, as a young man, that he can maybe do great things with what's left of his 20s?
Man, the truth is unveiled in the ring. You can say all you want outside the ring. You can say you learned, but when you're under fire is when you really see the separation of the best and the rest. And if he can take what he's learned and execute on fight night, that's all that matters. And now, I mean, it would all just be, I think, I hope, but we're never gonna know. We're never gonna know until you're there. And just, all of us fighters have that in front of us. You can say everything we want, but listen, when it comes down to it, when you're under the gun, did you learn and can you execute? You can do it in the gym. Sean, I know you've seen this. You see guys that they look great in the gym, man. They are every day. And you're watching them spar, and you're like, man, this guy's a world champion. And they go out on fight night under those lights, cannot execute. And even good fighters, you work on new things, whatever. Guys, different phases of their career, being able to execute under those lights is really what it's all about. So learning is good, but if you can't execute it, it doesn't matter. So we got to see how he recovers from this whole debacle, and we're not going to know until he steps back in the ring.
What do you think
I
about
always like using the car crash analogy. Once you've been in a car crash and you approach the next time you get in the car, it's like you may be a little jittery. It's going to take some time for you to get your bearings back about you. You kind of, you're looking at everything, waiting on that accident to happen. It takes time. Some guys can just get back in the car and it's like it never happened. Other guys, they need time in the gym. They need time in preparation and maybe even the first couple of rounds of the next fight for them to get away from that car crash. So I think he had a couple of collisions that night, and it's possible that they could show up. But I like what I heard him say. I never thought about giving up. He never thought about what was happening to him in the ring. And the fact that he never acknowledged it in the moment, to me, is a good thing, because that means moving forward, he doesn't have the thought process of that moment. In the moment, when you acknowledge what's happening, you get stuck in that moment. Your memories take you right back to that moment. The fact that he didn't get stuck there means, to me, it means get back in the car. And when that punch is thrown, I don't have that moment to get stuck in, because he didn't get stuck in the first one. So hopefully that makes sense.
Chris, moving forward, last question I have for you. Is it a cautionary tale? You're helping out somebody in the gym, right? And their opponent doesn't make weight. You go, hey, remember what happened to Devin Haney? If he doesn't make weight, we're not fighting. In terms of other coaches going, hey, we're not putting up with any of this BS. You don't make weight, you're not fighting. Is it a cautionary tale maybe in the gyms and big fights moving forward for an opponent that doesn't make weight?
Yeah, in terms of, whether you take the fight or not, it was a tricky situation. And I think going forward, yeah, you could sit there and go like, well, look what happened, to Haney that time. But we've all been in fights where the opponent didn't make weight, and you base it on, on them, really, on what you're looking at in front of you. And they based it on the fact that Ryan was drinking a beer on stage, even though that was fake, and acting crazy for the weeks, leading up to it, which I don't know how real any of that was. It seemed like a lot of it was, but it doesn't matter. The kid locked in, when it was time. Ryan's a very dangerous guy like that. So, yeah, I don't know if this is going to be like a case study on when it comes to what to do when a guy doesn't make weight, and it's going to be a case by case basis. There's always money involved in negotiating, but it's definitely, it's going to be a situation where coaches are going to be like, remember that time with Devin? We don't need to do this. We can, take other opportunities. And even now in hindsight, Devin and Bill are saying, like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have taken that fight, but it is what it is.
The next one might be different. As you said, Chris, you can say anything you want outside of the ring. When you get back in the ring, that's when you can't hide from yourself. Hopefully Devin Haney gets it back together and we see him in the ring sometime soon, and that will make big boxing news. As always, download the ProBox TV app. Never fall behind in your boxing news, and we'll be back with more top stories.
Wednesday Night Fights.
Dynamite action on Wednesday Night Fights every other Wednesday on your boxing channel.
Coming up on your next Wednesday Night Fights, October 9th. Chris, Primetime Colbert, and Omar Super Salcido step into the ring for what is sure to be a barn burner. Live from the ProBox Event Center in Plant City. Get your tickets at ProBoxTV.com or take your chances at the door. Wednesday Night Fights.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.